Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Say, it's Miller time. Ha 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 ha! Yeah, it's been a while since the last Miller time, hasn't it? It's not intentional, it's just the last time I talked about Frank Miller, I was actually rather nice to the guy, since RoboCop vs. the Terminator #1 was an okay comic. But then people kept requesting this and Holy Terror, and well, I was reminded why I hate this racist, misogynistic sack of crap to begin with. People have been wondering if I've seen The Dark Knight Returns straight-to-DVD movies. I have not seen them, and while I probably will at some point, I don't really care all that much. I thought we'd established by now that I care more about the comics than I do any adaptations of them. I'm sure they're quite good, mostly because the original story comes from before that brain parasite got inside of Frank Miller's head and began sucking away anything that made him rational and reasonable. Anyway, our story so far. An escaped mental patient named Steve found Batman's outfit and came across a lottery ticket that allowed him to get rich and thus pretend that he's Batman. As a result, he has kidnapped a young boy whose parents were killed at a circus performance and murdered several police officers. Then we had a random tangent to Black Canary that will kinda sorta be paid off in stupid ways in another issue. Black Canary in this comic is a random kung fu wielding Irish ninja who worked in the worst bar ever, and I'm pretty sure she killed some innocent people too. Vicky Vale was injured and is at the hospital, and Superman said "damn" a whole lot. I'm sure there was more to it than that, but thanks to all the alcohol I ingested during my reviews of the Marvel comics, I tend to black out a bit on some memories. So let's dig into All-Star Batman and Robin #5 and see what Frankie's got for us this time.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man punch, wears a pretty hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara, coins, robots, Amazons and trucks. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
While I'm reading from a trade, sometimes the original comic covers do make me slap my head enough that I want to briefly talk about them. In this case, Ass Bar #5 had two crappy covers to it. The first was a Jim Lee drawing of Batman with random blood splatters. Whoopity-doo. The second was the Frank Miller drawing of Wonder Woman's ass. Well, Wonder Woman's ass, as well as her spine twisting in two painful directions, and some kind of corset thing that I'm sure is supposed to be her outfit, but, you know, isn't. Not even close. Also, where the hell are her arms? Even if she was holding them straight up, we should be able to see something. Well, I know why we can't see her arms. If we saw her arms, we probably wouldn't be able to see that one breast right there. And it was so important to this cover that we saw it. Anyway, back to Wonder Woman's ass. It really goes to show how much respect Frankie Boy has for an enduring feminist icon, and probably the most well-known mainstream superheroine aside from Batgirl. And Batgirl, as awesome as she is still a distaff counterpart to Batman. You know, it's an often repeated phrase that sex sells, and it's a load of garbage. It's not sex that sells, it's porn. If it was merely sex or nudity that got people to buy books, half of the comics I've reviewed would be the highest-selling titles of all time. But huzzah! Frank Miller proves that he can't even draw a cheesecake without screwing it up royally. I ask any men or women curious to try. Stand in that pose with your stomach shoved out while simultaneously arching your back and see how long you want to stay in that position. We open to 5 hours ago. Enough with the timestamps, okay? Nobody opened this comic up and thought to themselves, oh man, I don't know what time it is compared to the rest of the story. I'm so confused. Time and space are meaningless in this comic, Frank. Wonder Woman is walking down a dark street holding a newspaper. The most noticeable thing about her outfit as it is in this is the addition of a nose guard. I admit I actually like this change, since it's a basic aesthetic difference that would make sense without somehow being controversial like pants somehow are. However, for some bizarre reason, she's wearing a trench coat too. Why? It's not because she's cold, since we can see it's already opened up, and frankly I would think she'd want to put on warmer clothes under the coat. Not to mention, she's super strong already, so I imagine that comes with endurance to the elements. It can't be to conceal her identity, because the outfit is so poorly covered underneath it. Plus, she's wearing the friggin' tiara thing right there on her face. Oh man, there's Wonder Woman right there! Oh wait, she's wearing a trench coat. Never mind, it isn't her. This page, this dumbass page, there's so much stupid here. There's Wonder Woman, who I'm sure is supposed to look pissed off, but instead just looks like she's pouting. There's the overwritten, irritating, and schizophrenic narration. Oh, I'll get to that in a second. There's a random drunken hobo asking Wonder Woman to marry him, and there's a random businessman just casually walking down the streets. Where the hell is he going? Judging by the light in the background, it's either sunrise or sunset. Either way, seems like an odd time for him to just be walking through some back alley. And then there's the dialogue. That wonderful, wonderful Frank Miller dialogue. Out of my way, sperm bank. Out of my way, internet meme. Metropolis, the city of dreams. Men's dreams. And, you know, the few 100,000 women who probably live in it too. It stinks of men, of doorways abandoned, obsolete phone booths used as urinals. That would have made things awkward for Bill and Ted. It leaves a bad taste, this world of men. Yeah, grape jelly and mustard. Weird. Men, they can't do anything right. Nonsense! We invented peanut butter, didn't we? So as Wonder Woman, okay, she's not acting like Wonder Woman either, so I've got a new name for her. This is Bonkers Betty, crazy escaped mental patient who found a Wonder Woman costume at a store and took it. So as Bonkers Betty smashes through a chained-up door, she continues her narration. The words on the door speak a lie. Men always lie. About everything. You look pretty today. Liar! I look hideous! Men always make a mess out of everything, says the woman smashing through private property. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm sure that's actually supposed to be deliberate. This is a feminist in Frank's eyes. You know, a straw man. Man-hating, hypocritical, and given the fact that until the 2011 reboot, Paradise Island always had a kind of nod and wink lesbianism going on, he probably sees her as a lesbian who just needs the right man to show her the error of her ways. I admit this is mere speculation on my part, but frankly, with what we've seen of Frank's writing before, does anyone really think that isn't a possibility? Oh, and speaking of Frank's tropes, Bonkers Betty discards her robe, leading to a shot of her walking down a stairwell from above so we can peek down her cleavage while her eyes are closed, as if we were seeing a Victoria's Secret commercial. Also, she wears horribly uncomfortable high heels like the freaking hugest ever. Lovely. And now she's talking about Batman. At least they insisted on meeting in Metropolis. As bad as this is, it's not that cesspool they call Gotham City. Gotham City, with its awful Batman. By all accounts, he's the worst of the lot. He's an outrage. Even by the standards of men, he's an outrage. In fact, you could call him outrageous. Truly, truly outrageous. Okay, Batman and Gem crossover. Make it happen, people. She walks into a room where Superman, Green Lantern, and Plastic Man are all located and arguing about Crazy Steve. Actually, here's my question. Why Plastic Man? I get that for some stupid reason Frank wants to do his version of the Justice League, probably so he can keep going on and on about how awesome Batman is compared to everybody else, but this I don't get. Wonder Woman, Superman, and Green Lantern make sense, but Plastic Man? I like Plastic Man just fine, I've got no complaints about the guy, but why him and not the Flash or Aquaman or something? Plastic Man, shape-changing nutcase. Oh, I get it now, because we needed more crazy people. I told you, Diana. I told you all. From the first moment I heard of that maniac, I knew his methods would make us all look like monsters. Says the dude who's casually twisting metal because of his rage issues. Still, at least he's saying other things besides damn. And now he's kidnapped a little boy. He'll be the excuse they've been looking for to destroy us. Yes, because when the little boy has been kidnapped by the psychotic murderer, it's your reputation as a superhero that you should be worrying about, you dick. Green Lantern tries to act rationally since they don't know for certain that Crazy Steve kidnapped anybody. Although I'm confused about the green hand symbols he's creating with his ring for absolutely no reason. Is he miming something? Okay, 4 words, sounds like hitchhiking? Shut up! You call yourselves men? So, wait, you were the one who was going on and on about how men suck and are weak and blah blah blah, yet you have an expectation of men to be strong and correct or something?
Great continuity!
Wonder Woman continues to berate the others for wanting to be so nice about it, stating that they're kowtowing to ants and dropping to their knees before earthbound, ephemeral humans. Obviously, it's Miller's method of trying to pave the way for the Dark Knight Strikes Again by putting herself and the others on the level of gods. Of course, anyone who actually gave a damn about Wonder Woman would know that she doesn't see herself above ordinary people, and God, I hate this comic! Why are we even wasting our time with the Justice League? I know this is a repeated thing with me, but isn't this book about Batman and Robin? Why should we care about the Justice League's reaction to him? All-Star Superman was ultimately about Superman, and while I think we got a cameo out of another hero or two, it was focused tightly on Superman's mythos. Did Miller just get bored with Batman and wanted to play with the other characters? Settle down, Diana. You're new to this world. You don't know the rules. We don't talk about Fight Club in Patriarch's world, Diana. Superman keeps playing it cool, trying to make it seem like she needs to calm down when it's obvious he wants to play burn the front page of the newspaper with her. Wonder Woman responds, "You want cooler, farm boy? I'll give you cooler. I'll give you cold. Cold and simple. We hunt down this Batman like a rabid dog. We kill him. We chop off his head and plant it on a stake and present it to your authorities as their first gift from the Justice League."
Okay, I was kind of with you until that last bit.
And Miller once again reverts to the style he used in Dark Knight Strikes Again, where he tries to wax poetic with Superman getting pissy and punching a metal column. It starts with a bellow worthy of Zeus, then a wind that Boreas might envy. I'm sorry, what was that about boring me? Game on, get your game on. Oh, we'll be right back, people. Tough times, hard climbs. Oh, we're back. We'll take them on together. She's a fragile twig, a blade of grass, tossed aside in the wake of an angry god. Wonder Woman should never, ever be described as a fragile twig. Up yours, Miller. Damn you, Diana! Damn you and your Amazon arrogance! Damn it all to hell, you damn dirty apes! You blew it up! If you commit murder on my land, you'll pay for it with your own precious Amazon blood! So wait, if she kills someone on his land, from California to the New York Island, he'll kill her back? Way to really take the moral high ground there, Soups. Bonkers Betty basically says, screw you guys, I'm going home. Well, I take that back. That would actually be better written than Frank Miller's Torgo-esque repetition of, you bastard, I hate your guts, you make me sick. This comic blows. Oh, and then the two start making out. Yeah. This is that Frank Miller can only write female characters if they're prostitutes thing. Now, bear with me here. I'm not calling Wonder Woman a prostitute. I'm just making the association here that's in Miller's mind. Wonder Woman, in his head, is just some angry feminazi who needs sex with an alpha male to calm her down. She's not actually strong in her convictions, since all it takes is a big, strong man to get her to not go off and try to murder Batman. The logic following it being that she comes from an island of lesbians, and gay people don't have relationships, they just have sex. And following that, wanting to have sex in such a manner means she's wicked and immoral and loose, thus prostitute. The only reason characters like Carrie Kelly and, in the next issue, Barbara Gordon don't get tied with that is because even Frank Miller isn't so squicky as to do that to teenagers. He sees them instead as young girls or daughter figures that need to be protected. Have I mentioned that Frank Miller is a dumbass? I have? Don't care. Frank Miller's a dumbass! Then Zeus stabs the world of man with thunderbolts, and somewhere Poseidon roars with laughter.
Curse you, merciful Poseidon!
The thunderbolts, they stab them both. What the hell does that even mean? You boys go and give it your best shot. After that, it's up to me, and all your rules can go straight to hell, and so can you. I hate you all.
Man, I'm sorry these two didn't end up together.
Well, they did.
Oh, well, then I'm sorry about that.
The Justice League of America. For now, they are creatures of accident and destiny, each seeking their way. They could really use a GPS. To truth. To justice. To sweet, sweet booze. But enough of that totally unnecessary stuff. Now it's back to Crazy Steve. How do we know it's him? Well, he's laughing in satanic glee, and his narration caption is, I love being the goddamn Batman. Yeah, I think Frank was aware of the meme status that goddamn Batman had reached, and so he just injected it into the rest of the issues as often as he could, not realizing that when you overuse a meme, people kinda get sick of it. More of Jim Lee's artwork is wasted. 2 panels of Steve's psychotic cackling, then a 2-page spread of him running across a rooftop. Like in Batman Noel, it features some very lovely architectural artwork that I'm sure took Jim Lee some time to draw, and it's unfortunate that it's blocked off by dumbass writing. Also, I've noticed that the sky is red. I'd like to think that Crisis on Infinite Earths is happening in whatever universe this takes place in, and it's all gonna be swept away in antimatter soon. It's a pity that it's taking its sweet-ass time. Steve continues his crappy narration about how he hasn't slept in days, and yet is still so excited and energized. I'm glad somebody's happy. I should be exhausted. I haven't slept in days. But I can't get tired, no matter how hard I try. Not on a night like this. Not with my pulse pounding my ears and dear Gotham calling to me like a sultry siren. Okay, 1, you haven't slept in days? You went out to the circus as Bruce Wayne without ever having slept? 2, it doesn't matter how much natural adrenaline he's got pumping into him, without any kind of rest, it's gonna start hurting, both physically and mentally. Now we know why he's insane. Without sleep, anyone will go nuts. 3, a sultry siren? For the love of crap, in an earlier issue, you were the one who compared her to Lenore! A woman screams, "What the hell?"
Flag on the moon. How did it get there?
I give with the laugh that always works. I love how this comic keeps offering us explanations for this nonsense. Frank doesn't realize he's writing Batman. He thinks he's writing the Creeper. Creeper's the one who laughs insanely to scare criminals while being totally friggin' nuts. Oh, and speaking of wasted space, splash page of Batman against the huge-ass moon! Why the hell was it taking so long to get this book out when 6 of the 12 pages we've had so far are splash pages, 2-page spreads, or whatever the hell those 2 panels featuring his head are? Crazy Steve leaps down towards a group of thugs assaulting a woman with huge knives in their hands. I'm talking Crocodile Dundee, this is a knife, size knives. Stevie Boy beats the snot out of the would-be rapists. Well, I presume they're rapists. Given how bizarre those knives are, maybe they're just overly enthusiastic knife salesmen. Even giving a compound fracture to one guy. I'd say this was further proof of his psychotic behavior, but in the last few issues, he murdered policemen. This is pretty tame by his standards. Of course, then Crazy Steve starts beating one guy who keeps asking, "What?" in confusion, as if this was Pulp Fiction. Steve, you are not Samuel L. Jackson, and yes, they do speak English in what? What? You're asking me what? 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 This. No. What's on second, you idiot? Third base! The woman who is being attacked watches and then gets a maniacal grin on her face. Oh my god, the madness is spreading! The woman, wearing what I think are supposed to be platform heels and look like much more sensible shoes than the superheroine was wearing, walks over to one of her injured attackers who asks for help. The woman just kicks him in the groin and says, "I've got Batman watching after me." Well, thank God we had this scene, otherwise, the comic would be 1 page shorter. Go home now. Catch a cab on Novik. It's well lit. Call your shrink if you've got one.
Well, hold on a second there, Rainbow. This just off the newswire. You're not licensed to comment on how people deal with their emotions.
Although, actually, given how she was following Steve's example with her psychotic look, maybe a psychiatrist wouldn't be a bad idea. Then again, Steve's not exactly in any position to evaluate who needs psychological help. Thank you. I love you. Oh, tainted love.
Tainted love.
To which our intrepid hero thinks in his narration boxes, "Nobody loves anybody, my darling. We just survive." Thanks, Marv. That was real deep. As deep as the hole in your brain. Anyway, after some more repetitive narration, we cut back to Wayne Manor and our old pal Alfred Pennyworth and... oh my lord. He's punching a punching bag while wearing shorts and he appears quite muscular. Okay, I can believe that he'd want to stay in good shape, but give me a break here. The guy's in his 60s at least, and I think he'd be doing other exercises besides a punching bag. And furthermore, isn't he a butler? Doesn't he have things to clean or, say, a frightened 12-year-old in the basement of his psychotic employer to take care of? Oh boy, the narration boxes don't make this scene any better, folks. It just makes it much, much creepier. How many a day, how many hundreds, thousands a time, day or night, did my black-eyed angel come home from his frolics in the wood, blood streaming his smiling, fearless face? His black-eyed angel? You have a very strange theology, Alfred. He was always an adventurer, Bruce was. Always jumping and running and giving himself a proper banging. He was banging himself? I guess Batman does train to be the best at everything. And now my demon, my black-eyed, brilliant, willful angel has grown to manhood. Don't you ever say manhood again, you maniac! I pray this child will survive this. Manhood, banging, describing Bruce in romantic terms, and then bringing up the kid? I think I'm gonna throw up all over myself. We cut over to Dick Grayson, age 12, examining a weapons rack in the Batcave. Wait, are those guns? Guns in the Batcave? After Alfred just had half a page of unnecessary narration where he talked about the death of the Waynes that I skipped over because it was just boring. Frank, do you even know who Batman is? For crying out loud, even you wrote about his refusal to have guns back in The Dark Knight Strikes Again! Next thing you know, the Batcave is gonna have some massive, ridiculous chain gun and oh god damn it! Batman works out of a really big cave. It's full of stuff. Crazy Steve sure knows how to pick the sharp ones for his sidekicks, doesn't he? It's like a museum would be if a museum could breathe. 1. No, it isn't. 2. No, it isn't. And all the stuff is clean and sharpened and polished and ready to use. So what does Dick immediately do? He reaches for the sharp bladed edge of an axe. This place is just begging for someone to trip, fall, and get their head gouged on an exposed weapon. And so the issue that people had waited a whole year for ends on Dick Grayson, age 12, picking up a huge freaking battle axe and saying, "Cool." Congratulations, Frank, on 22 more pages devoted to wasting everybody's time. This comic sucks. Do I even have to explain why? As I just stated, this was when the delay problems with All-Star Batman and Robin, aka All-Star, this is really the entire DC universe, but we're putting Batman's name on it to make a quick buck, began to really become an issue. A whole year's wait for this comic that essentially amounted to Batman's still crazy, Dick Grayson's going to injure himself, and the Justice League are assholes. Jim Lee's artwork continues to be good, but isn't worth the cover price. For added unpleasantness, there seems to be some kind of red filtering going on, since every page and panel is in red, as if the blood on the cover was somehow seeping into the rest of the book, or we were trying to read it through a virtual boy. And of course, the writing is... yeah. Even if it's not officially spoken, I think it's pretty much guaranteed that the promised continuation of this series is never going to come. Though we still have several more issues to go for what was printed. However, I'm really not in the mood anymore. Out of my way, poorly written comic!
Linkara, this is Poyo onboard Comic Run 1. We're ready to start an overhaul of the security systems here and in the apartment.
Good. Then we won't have any more problems with intruders.
Thanks.